Hello and welcome to episode 24 of the Slow Crafting Podcast. My name's Nadine and I'm coming to you today from the northwest of England near Manchester. For those of you who watched the last episode, you may notice I'm wearing the same outfit and sitting in the same place. That's because I've only just finished recording the last one. But I thought I'd separate these two episodes out because they're both going to be book reviews. The last one was obviously about the Stranded Colourwork book, and this one's going to be about a Japanese stitch dictionary. So I shall crack on and talk to you about that now. This is a book that came out 2017. Well, came out in English in 2017. I think the book itself was published possibly in Japanese in 2015. So it's it's a very shiny cover, so we're gonna have to. Hey, there we go. Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible by Hitomi Shida. There's 260 different sort of unique designs within this book, which is quite a lot, and they are all absolutely stunning. Bit of a spoiler there. Quite like this book. There you go. But yes, I will say, if you don't like knitting from charts, this book is not for you, because everything is charted with no written instructions. Hitomi does say in it that Japanese knitting designs all use a sort of standardized set of symbols. So if you're looking at sort of Japanese knitting magazines or whatever, they don't normally give you a key to understand, because everyone's just expected to understand what the symbols are because they're always the same. But luckily this book does actually give you an explanation of what each of the symbols means, and also gives you some basically photo tutorials of how to work some of the more complicated stitches as well. And once you start reading some of the patterns, you understand why you need to have a photo tutorial, because they're just mind-blowingly awesome and a little bit complicated. But yeah, there are seven, like I say, there are 7 pages of a key for the different symbols that are used in the charts. So yeah. It's a little bit mind-blowing. That's even without the photo tutorials. That's just 7 pages of this symbol means this. Yeah. Oh no, I'm lying, it's not even 7 pages, it's 11 pages of explanatory text around symbols. Right, the book itself is split into a number of sections, and it starts with a section on lace or lacy patterns. Now I have to say, the whole book is sort of littered with, or sort of primarily focused on, lace, cables, twisted stitches, and bobbles. So whilst I'm saying that this is the lace section, it does also have elements of twisted stitches and cables and things within it. And the lace, like I had this problem with the last one. Go away, naughty charts. There we go, there's lace patterns. Now for each section there is a pattern that you can knit as well. So for the lace section, it's a small scarf that is worked using some of the motifs within this section. Now the lace section itself is split into sort of the following subheadings. So there's lace with bobbles, lace with leaves, lace with scallops, lace with smocking, and lace with bead embroidery, or beading and embroidery. Now the embroidery one, oh, absolutely stunning. There is I'm hoping I can show you it without showing the, oh, I should be able to. Here, oh, this bit, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. That is an embroidered rose that stands out from the fabric. How awesome is that? My mind was absolutely blown when I saw that. I'm not entirely sure I'd be able to do it, because it is worked separately. You don't have to do some complicated knitting to do that rose detail on it. You do embroidery on afterwards, looking at the instructions. So I might be able to do it, but oh, I want that on everything now. Might change my mind once I've done one of them and seen how complicated it was, but no, it's absolutely stunning. But my favourite section in the lace bit is the one on smocking, because which is basically just wrapping your yarn around some of your stitches every now and again to create a sort of ruched appearance. Doesn't necessarily cinch the fabric in, but it particularly if you have two cables crossing, you'll end up wrapping your yarn around where it crosses, so it looks like smocking in a sewing context. Now I think the reason that the smocking section is my favourite in there is because I do like smocking on sewn items as well. I think it's a 70s and early 80s childhood where lots of my dresses, probably made by my mother, had smocking on the front of them. So yes, I like that, and like I say, that section has a pattern for the scarf. The next section is about all over patterns, so not just little motifs that repeat, but ones that can be used over a larger garment. Although having said this, the pattern that they give you in here is for some socks, which have the pattern work down the front. It says that they're all over designs, but I don't see why you couldn't work these as motifs of repeats. Some of these are, you will be able to work just as either panels or as a repeat, or mix them up with others. Where's this one? Yeah. And then it says another section on panels of patterns. So again, cables or lace, or bobbles, I think. Yeah, or twisted stitches. And the pattern for this one is for a hat. So as you can see, all the designs are really intricate. I wish I could show you more from in the book, but because of the layout, I can't show you the designs without also accidentally showing you the charts. And as it's a paid for book, I don't think that would go down very well with the publishers. Yes, and then it's got a section on pattern arrangement, which basically talks you through how you can adapt the patterns that are in the book to change them up slightly and make them different. So it talks you through using only a small section of a particular motif or panel, and then repeating that. Talks about inserting additional elements, so for example you've got a really jazzy design and then changing it so it's got a cable in the middle of it or to one side, or adding in something new to break up and disrupt the original design panel. Adding extra bobbles. A lot of the designs include bobbles already, but it does talk you through adding more because everybody needs bobbles. It talks you through offsetting a design, and it gives you knitted samples or swatches of each of these different types of examples that they're giving. So it shows you the original design and the chart for it, and then it shows you a modified sample with the modified chart below it as well. So one of the things they talk about is offsetting a design. So if you have a pattern that repeats like that, so they have it, so one column of your panel of your motif is worked like that, and then the next one is slightly offset, so instead of being side by side and then repeating and then repeating, it sort of repeats to halfway point and then it works again. So like I say, so they're offset, and it's amazing what little differences like that seem to make to the designs and the patterns. You wouldn't necessarily think that that would have such a visual impact on the flow of a garment, but it really does. Garment, or even indeed just pattern. Talks about inserting small patches of lace between cables, so where you get the cables crossing over and you get that little sort of lozenge or diamond shaped, depending on what your cables then do afterwards. So inserting bits of lace in there and what that does to a design, or where some of the designs have already got that lace in, taking it out and having a solid patch in there. Just playing with it basically, and it encourages you to have a go and change up things, and it's not you must do it this way, like this, and that's the only way. It's like, no, have fun, play, experiment. It's quite nice in a knitting book. You don't always get that. And then I think the final thing is in this section is about altering the rate at which your work increases or decreases, so it stretches the motif out. So essentially it keeps the same motif but just elongates it, and it can look very, very different. And that section gives you pattern for some mittens. So there we go, some red mittens there. And then we come to my favourite section in the book. Now I can show you a bit more of this because for this section the charts are on different pages. So this section is about circular yokes. Oh, now I really do like knitting a yoked jumper because I just think they suit me, and I don't have to sew in sleeves, which is always a bonus because I always end up with crazy lumpy bits that don't look right. But no, working some of these patterns, can you imagine that on a yoke all the way around? How stunning would that look? It gives you a pattern for a little lace collar, which looks very cute. I'm not sure I'm of an age or of a fashionable enough status to just sling on a knitted collar and carry it off. Mind you, I don't really care what other people think of what I look like, so I could get away with it, yeah. So yes, oh, look at these stunning. Whether my knitting skills are up to this standard is debatable. I'd like to think that they are. It's not something I'm ever going to do with the children around. It's going to be one of those things that I have to do very much with complete silence and no distractions whatsoever. But yeah, there's 14 different patterns there for circular yolks. Now I did say that the charts were on different pages for these, so you do have to, I mean, because the pages and pages away, they're not even, it doesn't even show you all the pictures and then give you the charts. It shows you all the pictures and then shows you pictures for something else and then gives you the charts. So you are going to have to keep flicking backwards and forwards just to double check that it actually looks right and that you are reading the chart correctly, which could be a bit awkward, but doesn't necessarily have to be. So yes, that's the round yolks, and then it's got a section on edgings. Again, the charts are on in a separate section. So it goes through, I think there's 31 examples of different potential edgings that you can have. Some worked on I think 10 examples based on a 2x2 rib, 22 examples based on garter stitch apparently, and 31 examples based on a 1x1 rib, not 31 examples in total. So it's 31 1x1, 10 2x2, 22 garter, and 10 with a ruffled or fluted edge, which is just absolutely loads. And I'm looking at it thinking, why do I ever do just plain 1x1 or 2x2 ribbon on anything? Because some of these are absolutely beautiful and wouldn't necessarily be that complicated to add into a design. I'm saying this now without having tried them. So like this one here at the bottom, what, can you imagine just like top of a pair of socks or bottom of a jumper, just round the cuffs of a cardigan? Be beautiful. I know there are designs out there that have got this work, or got more exciting ribbed sections already worked into them, but it's not something I've ever knitted myself, so I find it all absolutely thrilling and fascinating. So yes, I really like that. Some of the edgings are worked sideways, they're not all bottom up, so that might have different implications as to the practical uses, but they are again all about inserting cables, twisted stitches, cross stitches, bobbles, smocking or lace into an edging, just to give it a little bit more of a wow factor. So yes, I'm trying to think, I think this was I'm trying to think how much it was. Somewhere around £15 I think, or possibly between 15 and 20. The reason I can't remember is because I ordered it early December, end of November last year, because I was like, oh, when I was doing my Christmas shopping, I thought, I'll order some for me, some as well as some for other people, and it was out of stock for ages, and then it eventually came through in January, I think. So it was worth the wait, because it is, like I say, it's absolutely stunning. Quite how I'm going to fit them into any designs anytime soon, I don't know, and I think it will be a question of easing myself in with a lot of plain knitting, a lot of stockinette, and then just an element of these designs. So possibly plain body and then ooh, jazzy yoke, because I can do that, I think. But yes, thoroughly recommend this if you are comfortable with charts and comfortable with very complicated knitting. Well, not necessarily complicated, because people have different ideas about what's advanced and what's not. if you like knitting that you have to concentrate on, then yes. If you like knitting that you can do while watching the telly or multitasking, then probably no, it won't be for you. Yeah, like I say, it's got different designs, patterns in there for projects, as well as the individual stitch samples or motif samples. So yes, Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible by Hitomi Shida. Big thumbs up from me. I might have to wait till the children are a bit older before I start working on anything quite so complicated. But yes, hopefully you'll find that interesting, and I'm sorry I couldn't show you more of the designs in the book. I'm just trying to think, if I show you the end pages, that might give you an idea of just some of the beautiful and absolutely stunning patterns that are in here. There you go. Pretty much all like that. Alright then, thank you for listening. If you've got any comments or questions, please leave me a message in the comments section below, and hopefully I will see you soon. Alright then, thank you, bye bye.